Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, I think we're going to do a two-parter there. I've had a lot of requests on how I grow my sphagnum moss, the live stuff that's in all the pots. And I wanted to touch base on how we grow sphagnum moss. And then on the second part of this video, I wanted to just give you a quick little demonstration on how I pot up my nepenthes so that they have the layer of the live sphagnum on top. Because a lot of people are asking, how do you get that? How do you grow the live moss on the basket with the other plant, the nepenthes? So we'll go through those steps as well. But let's have a look at sphagnum moss first and what it is. So normally I grow sphagnum moss, I buy sphagnum moss like this. This is going to be what I use in the majority of all my pots. So something like this costs me about $5 at my local garden shop. And what it makes is this, which is a dry, dead sphagnum moss. Some people say sphagnum, doesn't matter how you pronounce it, but as long as we're on the same page as to what it is there. So this for me is dead moss. This is what I use in most of my pots. I have never ever had this stuff sprout any new seeds, any new growth on it. There's been no spores that have ever activated after time. I cannot get this stuff to grow. So I don't know if it's a North American thing or a Canada thing anyways, but this seems to be heat treated. I cannot bring this back to life. I've never had any success bringing this back to life. So I know you get some tricks or tips on the internet that you can just sort of bag this up and after a couple months it will start to regrow again. And for me, that just simply hasn't happened. So for me, I have to start with live moss. Go on the internet, search eBay, live sphagnum moss. I know in the States there's quite a few places to buy it. Here in Canada there's not so many, but just check out eBay or places like that. Carnivorous plant retailers online or in person will have it, and it's not overly expensive. You would get about half of this amount of live moss for about 10 bucks or so. So anyways, that's what I start with, is the live stuff. So what I'll do, the live stuff I brought out is right below you. So I'm just going to bring you down and then we can have a look at the live stuff together. And I'm going to tell you how I keep it alive. Okay, this is one of my main cultures of my sphagnum moss here. I don't have much of it. Some people have lots and lots of it growing around their greenhouse. I would love to have lots of it, but I just simply don't have lots at this point. I have enough for doing my top dressings on my pots, but not enough to have it just in mounds all over the place. Maybe at some point, maybe someday. It's kind of like growing the Spanish moss, which is different. Once you have a fair amount of it, it multiplies quite quickly, and then you're able to go from there, and you end up being able to give it away. At this point, this is what my main colony looks like. I keep it quite moist. It's always moist to the touch. Here in the greenhouse is always very high humidity. I'm just going to try to bring you a little closer. There we go. It's always high humidity in here. If the humidity ever drops, the tips die on it, and it really sets you back. So humidity is super important for this stuff. In fact, it's the most important thing that you can do with this. I find I have trouble with it in the summertime, especially in the pots, because I want my plants to get sun. This stuff loves bright light. It hates direct drying sun, and it dies very easily. So you can see the odd dead tip in there. And it just so happens that those little tips have dried out somehow over the winter, and they are no longer active. They're no longer growing. To get this started, the live sphagnum moss comes in long strands. I didn't chop it up too much. I made sure it was in about 4-inch strands in here and just laid it out evenly. And then it actually just started growing up from there. I didn't have to plant it directly up or down or anything like that. I just sort of laid it out. And for the most part, it did pretty good. You can see areas where I've recently harvested for some of my new plants. They haven't grown back yet, but that is what I've done. It's just a garden tray basically. You can see it from the side, and I have no media on this. This is just a piece of my old shade cloth, and it's just sitting directly on the shade cloth. I'll turn this around, sorry if that was loud. See, there's nothing under it, there's no media under it. It's just sort of floating there. In the summertime, this little tray down here can be full of water, but I don't keep it saturated. I allow it to drip through, but always be moist. And it seems like this material just sort of wicks the water around where it needs to go. This is a red spag. Believe it or not, even though it's green, when it gets more light, it'll turn red. You'll see that in the next video. For me, I'm just trying to slowly grow it. I'm not trying to give it a prime real estate location here. I have other plants that need that. So it's on a shaded shelf, not under lights this time of year. So it's not growing as fast as it could. I don't fertilize it at all. I did try one time in one corner, in this corner here actually. You can see it actually went green. So I wasn't happy with that. I have used seaweed fertilizer on it, if that sort of counts. It's very mild, with just a very quick spray. Other than that, it just grows. It just naturally grows. And yeah, the biggest thing I think is not so much light, it is keeping it humid. It doesn't even matter if it's really hot. Last summer, I took some of this in a portion, not a very big portion, about the size of my hand. I put it in a large Ziploc bag, sealed the bag up, kept it moist, hung it below one of my shelves, just with a little hook, and it got direct sun. I have no idea how hot it got in that bag. It got direct sun. The color of it was nice and red. It was growing in the bag. I would just undo the bag whenever I needed a bit, and I grew it in the bag. That seemed like a fantastic way to do it. If you're at all worried about humidity or that drop in humidity, seal it up. It didn't seem to matter about the temperature at all, because that was the middle of summer. But anyways, that is sort of a quick video on how I grow my sphagnum moss. Now I'm going to do a part 2 video of this, so if you're interested in continuing, make sure you find that video. I'll maybe link them together. We're going to take some of this moss and do a top dressing on one of my nepenthes. So if you like this video and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you want to keep going with me to part 2, hunt down that video now.